The most popular panel discussion show in the country at the moment. Today is the 7th of December 2017, and my name is Janice Learmond-Criqui. I am the PRO. Tonight we have Antnony, my deputy PRO.
Hello everyone.
And we have a special guest tonight, Felicia, who is the Progressive Empowerment Party chairperson. She's very passionate about her country and wants to see change. Our topic tonight is from the classroom. Oh, go ahead.
Good night, everybody.
Don't worry, you're going to be saying a lot tonight. I want you to save it for later. Our topic tonight is from the classroom to the jail cell. I firmly believe that we are not investing in the youth of our nation, especially those at greatest development risk, which is important for building social and human capital and improving the country's economic situation for the future. For years, Trinidad and Tobago have experienced increasing social problems relating to its youth population despite the economic improved performance over the years. Would you agree with that statement, Felicia?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that when I think about this, when I came tonight, one of the first things I thought about was how do I relate this to me? And I think about the youth in my community.
Mm-hmm. Which community is that?
I'm from Belmont.
Oh, okay.
And it's such a toss-up because there are some of them, you can see those who are trying, right, and you see those who are caught in what is obviously a system that is not tailored for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I see them and, you want to reach out and help them, but you also know that there's so much you can do, and there's also the fact that bigger systems in place, bigger powers in place actually are the ones that's supposed to give them the opportunity, and they don't have it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Tony?
I along the exact same lines as what Felicia just said.
Which community do you come from?
Well, I grew up in Santa Cruz, San Juan, Santa Cruz, but I spent most of my time abroad in New York. But from my memory of the time that I've had here, it was bliss. It was bliss because people, you walk down the road, you couldn't say, you could not pass an elder without acknowledging them, saying good afternoon or good morning. Your neighbors, it was all auntie this, uncle that, and you know what I mean. And it was just such a close-knit family type environment. I felt safe. I felt comfortable. I could walk several blocks away from my home, and everybody, hey, Tony, what's going on? How your mama? You know what I mean? And that kind of thing. It's just everyone knew everyone. Everyone looked out for everyone. And the youths of today, I think, are at a huge disadvantage because the environment that we were fortunate to be in, it's you could say it's non-existent today. You have a large portion of the population. It's a broken home environment. In most cases, it's the mother looking after the kids. You have several cases where the father is the one who has custody of the children. But on the larger side, it's really single women taking care of their children and having to hold down 2 and 3 jobs. Because again, the cost to send a child to school is so expensive. It's totally ridiculous, and I don't know, I keep wondering, the people in office, that the population willingly voted for these people to say, well, this individual may most likely, or this group or this party would most likely bring some level of betterment to the population. And again, and I would keep saying it again, it's 55 years, it's 11 administrations, and not one of them have truly seek the best interest of the population at heart, and far less the youths, because in my mind, I think the youths have been the ones who have been most neglected within the society, simply because they are the future leaders. They are the ones that we have to give proper guidance to, give the tools that they need to have the education, to have the skill set. I mean, it's a we don't have enough time to go through this, because you know what? It's, again, everything has so many other areas that is interconnected to it. You know what I mean? Because here we are, we're talking about from the classroom to the jail cell. So we are putting some focus on education. But again, education is affected by the broken home environment. It's affected by the level of poverty, by the stress that the family unit, even though it may be a single parent home, of having to pay for their rent. It's
well, not just single parent homes, because now I am seeing with the way the economy is going, you're going to have migration again by parents. And because they may not be in a position to take the children, it means now that those same children are going to have to move in with uncles and aunts and become barrel children.
true.
So to me, it's like a cycle. We're going round and round in the same cycle.
We're not addressing the cause.
That's correct.
We're not addressing
Correct.
it.
So, so we have to also bear in mind that yes, we have single families, but we are now going to be having once again barrel children. And that is going to impact the youth even more.
Correct.
Because there's no longer that parent there to give them that day-to-day emotional support. Because uncle and auntie may not necessarily give them that,
True.
And Janice, I am interjecting here because
Yes.
growing up in Belmont, I saw this a lot. I didn't understand it as a child, where I would see some boys in the neighborhood, and when you ask where your parents, they're on the block. Well, my mom is in New York, or my mom, and you see the difference between a child that's growing up in a family, you see the difference between a child that's growing up in a community, and a child who is just left on his own.
Right.
And those controls, they're obviously not in place. And who's following up on these kids? Because they're there, they're growing up. There was an uncle or an aunt who isn't really following up. If you go to school, at least your mommy's sending $500 a month, so I could pay your school fees with half, and I could use the other half to mind you. And this is the cycle that I see happening. Again, when I was young, I didn't understand it. But now that I look at these same boys, and it saddens me in some cases, but I look at them now and I wonder, what could have been different? We grew up together, same age. I went to a prestige school, and you went to a junior secondary school. And it's not saying that people who go to junior secondaries can't make it. I'm not saying that, because I know many people who have overcome their circumstances. But there are certain opportunities that are afforded to the prestige schools, and we need to be honest about that. And it needs to be afforded to everybody. And the fact that these kids don't have that, I think, is it's a sad thing, and it's one of the policies with the Progressive Empowerment Party that I'm very, 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 very adamant about implementing, because I think you said it earlier, Antnony, the children are the future.
Correct.
Yes.
And they deserve a chance from small growing up, and everybody deserves to have that opportunity. Everybody deserves to go to a prestige school and not have that stigma of, if I go to a prestige school, I would survive, or if I don't go to a prestige school, hard luck for me. I think, like I said, everybody deserves the opportunity.
Well, not just that. I think the prestige schools also have their own issues.
And that's true.
Same as in the secondary schools, because we're hearing about it every day.
Well, I would say this, and I'm sitting here and I'm listening, and to show how we ourselves are so caught up with this system that is in place. We are seeing the prestige schools and secondary schools, when in reality,
it should be the same across the board.
This is it. And again, taking my hat off to Mr. Alexander, with the idea and the concept of creating all schools 10-year schools.
Yes.
And in my mind, we don't have to classify them as prestige schools. What makes them a prestige school? Isn't Fatima a prestige school?
Yes.
What was going on in Fatima there the other day?
Yeah.
What was going on in several other schools around the country? My daughter is going to Shagwana Secondary Primary. There have been issues there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I don't know of any school that don't have issues. And the other problem is there the mechanics to address most of these problems efficiently? Efficiently. Because I know several parents that's had issues, not in Chaguanas, at other schools, at another school. And again, when trying to get answers, when trying to get a problem solved, it's always a runaround, it's always a story, it's something that would take place next week or the week after, but why? I'm just, look, Trinidad and Tobago, the issues we are dealing with in this country are all fixable. It does not take a rocket scientist to fix these things. Again, look at the policies at a glance that PEP has produced. It makes sense. You're interested in knowing more information as to those particular policies, come down at Stanmore Avenue, 19 Stanmore Avenue on midday at 12 noon and ask the executive. Philip Alexander would be here. Ask him directly. You know what I mean? My point is that we have foolproof programs and proposals to roll out that, look, we are 110% sure this is going to work. It's that simple. And it's not to say that the others in office and in opposition don't know that these models can work. They've known for 55 years that they could work. But again, it's the environment that they decided to create for the population, for them to be able to do what they are doing right now, because they have to insist on having a population that is below the poverty level, that is in a state of chaos, because again, you have to find areas and how are you going to bleed the treasury? You know what I mean? Because again, when you create an environment of frustration, Philip said before, people, when they come out and say, well, all right, it will take $10 million to fix this, people, yes, do it. Yeah. Nobody's asking us to exactly tell me fine-tooth comb as to how this is going to work. No, we just want it fixed. You know what I mean? Because the level of frustration is so high, we don't even want to hear the small talk. Just get the damn thing done. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that is one of the mechanisms that they use in hemorrhaging the system. And again, who is suffering the most? Our young people. 55 years down the line, all our people who have some level of education and know-how and skill set, where are they? New York, England, Canada, they're all over the bloody world. They're not here. They're not here. Why? Because we don't have the environment to allow our young people to strive, to be the best that they can be.
Anthony, he said that, and honestly, that hit my heart, because my best friend, she is in New York. Well, she's not in New York now. She lives away, I won't say where. And she is a doctor in her field. And we both went to school together, same school. I went to UE, she went abroad. And I'm not saying that she would not have had an opportunity down here, but I know in terms of what she wanted to study, where she wanted to go, she was very limited here in terms of that. And I look at the fact that she has left with what I consider, like, nobody can surpass her knowledge. Honestly, what she knows now in her field, which is green energy. Something that she's trying
green
to...
energy.
Green energy.
And that's something we need desperately in this country.
Down here. And, I remember her thesis was in wind turbines. And I said, that would be so amazing if you could bring that here. And she's a very determined person. And she came here and she actually gave the Ministry of Energy her proposal. Of course, it probably went in a cabinet under the dust. And I think
Seriously?
about and I think about her, and I think about what she wants to do, because she badly wants to come home,
right?
Yes.
And she badly wants to use the knowledge that she earned abroad to make a difference in her country.
So bring your proposal here, bring it to
But it's
BP.
so. Listen, trust me. When we got into government, I definitely wanted to come back here and share some of that.
That's a must, because that's another thing that we're going to make a major footprint on is green energy, renewable energies. This madness about running down this oil and gas right through. This is madness. The world is veering away from that, and at the end of the day, why are you going to use something that can be depleted versus something that you have forever. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to talk a little bit about the urban neighborhoods in Trinidad and Tobago. You remember when Cary Grant was on the show the other day and we were talking about, sports in schools and the environment. A lot of the kids, the youths, some of them live in poor urban areas in Trinidad and Tobago.
Right.
And I think we need to address that because remember the whole idea was proper housing for all our citizens, and it was felt that by kids having a proper home environment in a decent community would assist in their self-esteem and the way they conduct themselves. So we need to address that as well because that's good. That affects youths eventually moving into the crime. Another thing too that we have to look at is when they are in school. That's a whole different ball game. Because with what's going on now with the bullying and the fact that sometimes even the teachers don't treat them properly. These are things that need to be addressed.
I mean, the teachers need to be retrained.
Well, some of them don't even need to be there.
Well, true. But there are teachers.
They're in a wrong hole.
There are teachers, and I'm not knocking all teachers. I'm just saying there is a good percentage of teachers that, truly, in my mind, needs more training. And not just more training with the present day curriculum. I mean, modern day training that can give them the tools for the 21st century to actually teach children what makes sense for the time that we're in right now. You know what I mean? And not only that, why isn't it that the Ministry of Education is not taking an initiative and creating a think tank of sorts and making an outlook of what the country needs, as in brain power, as in skill sets, as you know what I mean? Who's doing that? Is there anyone that has taken that initiative?
No.
To say, well, I've heard when with the under Manning administration, they were talking about the 2020 vision, and we were aiming for first world status, I believe. Go
ahead.
My thought on that was because I remember that period in time when that rhetoric was being put into the public space, first world status, all this other stuff. And at that time, I was actually out in New York, and as an outsider looking into the box, I'm saying to myself, you're aiming for first world status, but a lot of the things that you're doing is not gearing you for this is it. It's a third world action that you're making, but yet you're preaching. This is it. What is that? What the heck is that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And again, keeping information from the population, they don't know better. The people just simply don't know better because they lack the proper information that they need to make the proper decisions. And again, PEP is a breath of fresh air in my mind simply because one of the key things PEP does is put information out into the public space. Facts, not fiction, not hearsay, not we think so, facts. This can work. These are the steps that we're going to take. Again, Trinidad and Tobago come down to 19 Stanmore Avenue, 12 noon, every Saturday. In fact, this Saturday, I believe it's the last meeting we're having for the year.
Public meeting for the year.
Last public meeting for the year is this Saturday. So guys, please come on down. If you have not make it down here, come down. If you have ideas, put it into the public space. Put it in the forum that we've created for you, and we will address it. If you have concerns, just be here because we can't read your mind and we don't know what you're thinking through that camera there. We want to see you face to face, you know what I mean? So we can actually interact and you can know who you're dealing with and who we're dealing with. You as the citizens, we as the people that, have created this body that wants to push the nation to first world status. For real, not just for joke. But anyway, that's another show.
All right, I came across a document which I found extremely interesting. It was done in June 2000 by the World Bank, and they talked about Trinidad and Tobago youth and social development and integrated approach to social inclusion. Now, inside of that document are some very good reasons why is it our youth are at risk. And one of them that I want to share with you is that as our youth gets older, they come against two persistent sources of exclusion: restricted access to secondary school and limited employment opportunities. On the transition to secondary education, a substantial proportion fall behind academically, and this leads to high dropout rates among those aged 15 to 17, leading to poor overall secondary school completion rates. Incomplete schooling often implies premature entry into the labor market with unsatisfactory results. Youth who have not completed secondary education face inferior job prospects, lower lifetime earnings, and greater likelihood of under and unemployment. Now, these are kids coming out of school. They have nowhere to go. If they have to go and get a job, it's a menial job. A fellow on the block comes and says, listen, you ain't had to go and work so hard. Come, just sell a...
Yeah, sell a 20 piece. Sell a 20 plate,
right?
50 plate. Yeah.
You're going to be earning a lot more than your normal 8 to 4 job.
Yeah.
Now, when put to them like that, what do you think is going to happen?
Why are they not going to do it?
But, and not just that, because furthermore, they might come from a single parent home, so there's not enough money to feed the kids. Usually families tend to be large families, so you find that the older kids have to finish school pretty quick to go out there, get a job to help mom pay the rent, pay the utilities. And, it's like a never-ending cycle. So, the life of crime seems to be a better life for them in their eyes because it's giving them money and because they have to live. Now that prices are going up, just not on food, but traveling. I understand the taxi fares have gone up tremendously. All those things that are going on. People still have to travel. They still have to put gas in the car. I understand Massey has raised their prices by 2% across the board. So we have to look at all the factors that are creating our youth into criminals. I believe that there was a gentleman on a morning show where he talked about the fact that the youth are not being given a voice. Why? Why are they not being given a voice? This is something that I think that the government needs to take a look at, but I know for sure the PEP is going to give the youth a voice because they are going to be the leaders in the next generation. And when we get old and grey, they're the ones that we are going to have to rely on in terms of customer service in the government services and so on. So
I don't want to be rolling up outside no general hospital or no grass. I don't want to end it off like that. No, sorry. But and again, it's why it's so important for us to be able to empower our youths, put people with a forward way of thinking, having a vision for the country, not just for the next 5 years or 10 years. We're talking for the next 50 to 100 years. That's just 2 generations, basically, because, at the end of the day, look, Trinidad is the perfect model to make this happen. Trinidad is the perfect model to have the paradise that we're looking for, because where we are on the planet, all the resources that we have, not just the oil and gas we're talking about, we have sunshine for over half of the year. Blazing sun. Do you have any idea how much energy that can generate? You know what I mean? How are we able to incorporate, within the construction sector, for example, a new roofing system that can facilitate a solar panel type design? You know what I mean? Where, again, you make excess power, feed it back into the grid. You can possibly get a check from TNTech. Why can't we develop a system like this? Why can't we make it robust enough where TNTech is not going to fall short? In fact, Tech, we are trying to have a surplus. You know what I mean? Where now that even allows greater expansion within communities that would have a greater demand for electricity, greater industry. If we have to go into real manufacturing, I mean, why the heck don't we develop our own bloody car? Why?
Yes.
You know what I mean? But anyway,
Janice,
another show.
when you say that the youths, they have very limited opportunities and access to secondary schools and stuff, I think about just what I was talking about earlier, the fact that we're not building communities.
Correct.
And the nation is a collection of communities. We
That's
say
right.
it all the time in the people, it's a collection of communities. So you have kids going to primary school in Woodbrook and then going to secondary school in whatever part of the country, central, and they're not getting to grow up with the people that they went to school with. I can't. Sometimes I see people I went to primary school with and I was like, hey, hi, bye, and you know, people you were close with, and you get dispersed, you're not in your community, or if you're there, you're probably in a school that you feel like you didn't want to go to, or it's a school that is not advancing you in a way that another school would have. And you also mentioned the fact that, you know, there's limited employment opportunities.
That's right.
And earlier we mentioned, Antnony I think asked whether they were mapping the roles that we would need in the future. And I don't think so. Actually, I attended a conference earlier this year and there were kids in a specific field, just fresh out of UE, and they was telling me, you know, they were looking for jobs, and all of them, they had studied this field, which is now basically becoming non-existent. And what are we doing? Are they now have to go and look for something that was not in a field of study. And then there's this pressure to be a doctor and a lawyer and to be an engineer. And what about those who have trades?
That's right.
They have trades and they can't advance it because they either have to work for a man in a shop, because it's so hard to own your own business.
Correct.
And I think about PEP policies and the fact that we want to rebuild the communities and we want to give children access to education and we want to give them the opportunity to study something and be something that they want to be, and not just what the society is telling you have to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer. You can actually advance your trade, own your own business.
Yeah. In fact, as you said that, I remember years ago that when you had to buy furniture and you went to one of these stores to buy it, it was usually furniture that was made here in Trinidad. And then all of a sudden, you start seeing
imports.
All of a sudden, you started seeing
imports.
everything being imported. And there was a guy that I had gone to who was making furniture for like people like Standards and so on. And then when I went back, he closed up shop. And I said, well, why have you closed? I mean, you're doing such good business. He says, no, I'm not. He says, because all these imports that are now coming in is taking away from me and my business. So I have to close up shop because I'm no longer getting the work. Why it is we can't go back to those days? I mean, you have a big Ashley outlet in Trinidad. What are they doing here? I don't know. But we need to
shop in Ashley.
That's right. So we need to go back. We need to start looking at the reasons, why our youths are ending up turning to a life of crime. Another thing I want to also talk about as well is the fact that little children at a very early age, especially at kindergarten or even primary, they are taught at an early age that aggression is an acceptable means to resolve differences and hence reproduce this behavior later on. That is something that I think we need to also look at, because crime comes with violence. It even starts off with bullying, and you have where these young students who are going out there and getting into crime, they're being told, well, you have to show that you are part of the group. You have to go and do something that shows that you're capable. And that creates a problem, because of that aggression that they would have learned from childhood, they're now perpetrating that out there. You see? So, we really have to sit back and start taking stock of what is going on with our youths. Because I tell you, it's not going to be pretty when we get older.
No, it's not. Because then who are we going to have to govern and lead? People who can't even lead themselves?
Another thing that I came across as well is you have in the papers where Fitzgerald Hines.
I love you, girl. I mean,
No, I do my research.
she's always on point, huh?
You have
Yes.
you have Fitzgerald Hines saying that there are 41 gangs in his area. Even 9-year-olds are involved in these gangs. Now, come on.
He has no shame.
You know, I could not.
I would be ashamed.
Exactly.
Listen, had I known that, if I was sitting in an office and that is information that came to me, the first thing, and again, just common sense, what I would think straight off the top of my head is to grab as many people that can address what is happening there, go in there, have an intervention.
Well, he's comfortable about saying this because they're looking to pass the anti-gang bill. So that's why he's brought this to the forefront. Now, my thing is, why it is you have to look for an anti-gang bill? What exactly is that going to do to help the youths? How are you going to know that they are in a gang in the first place? How are you going to know?
And do they
So
really
if you catch
know?
me and somebody say, oh, he's in a gang,
Mhm.
you're going to come and lock me up because somebody says I'm a gang?
Yeah.
I could be operating on my own. And I think that even the gangs are going to find a way around the bill. Now, how many years have we known about these gangs? I think the gangs have increased over the years. And nothing to date has been done. You have community leaders. I understand.
Good girl, I know about to bust that one there, boy. I know about to bust that one there because at the end of the day, hey, they ain't gang members, you know. They are community leaders, right? Now, look, you can call them whatever the heck you want to. It needs to be addressed. And if these same so-called community leaders play such a pivotal role within the community, okay, let's get them in a room and find out exactly what the mechanics as what's really going on the ground. Let's get our own people to rub shoulder to shoulder with the same community leaders and the same gang members on the ground on a regular basis. Because if you're in office for 5 years, why is it we do not have bodies that are in these deprived communities to really find out for fact what is happening and what can be done systematically to try to help the situation? And one of the key factors again is employment.
Yes.
Work is a key factor, and we're not talking about the Mickey Mouse work that the CPEP and URP as programs to help people. I mean, really, that is totally disgusting in my mind.
The gentleman said it when he called that night, the day they had the riots and they beat them.
Yes.
He said it, he said that, you know, I have to pay for my child's kindergarten. It's what, $1,500 a month. I'm making $2,500 a month. And you basically came and took away a community leader or somebody who fed my family. And I look at the anti-gang legislature and I have to laugh because it reminds me, honestly, of trying to stop a snowball when it has become an
That's what the
avalanche.
cause has already
Yeah.
left the state.
Well, this is it.
It has happened. So it's like you're trying to stop something and you're not going to the source. Why do we have gangs? Who is outfitting the gangs? Where they have machinery that the police
Don't have, the army don't have. If the gangs decide to call a war right now against government, guess what? We ass is grass, you know. Excuse the French,
No,
but really and truly.
I think about that all the time.
Look.
You have equipment.
This is what I'm saying.
And when I say stop it at the source, who is actually dealing with the fact, the thing that is fueling crime in the economy, which is Janice. We spoke about it earlier. There's no jobs.
That's right.
A man is telling you can make $10,000 if you sell this to me.
Mm-hmm.
Who is stopping the drugs from coming into the country? Who
That's
is
right.
stopping the guns from coming into the country?
Mm-hmm.
But no, we want to have anti-gang legislature. Why?
Mm-hmm.
To fix something that's just basically, it makes no sense because again you're not going to the source and the roots of the problem.
Yeah, of course, because again we had mentioned before, and I will keep saying it, there's just everything that is interconnected with everything. It's that simple. Because here we are, we're talking about education for the youths and so on. But with that same point that you just made, again, how are we going to have some level of control over the crime? Our security border in the ocean, as far as the security wall, the maritime security wall, correct.
This is the sexiest wall that I know about this. This is the wall that sold me at the PP, I swear.
Yeah.
Why? And it made so much sense.
It makes sense.
And you wonder, how come nobody has stolen this idea? Why is it not being...
They know of the idea. They simply choose not to implement it. Because, again, you don't need to look for no millions and billions of dollars to buy OPVs and this boat and that boat and the other boat. You can simply solicit the North American government, both Canada and the US, as well as the European government, as in the EU and England, and they can create a joint effort in securing the borders, because it's in their best interest. And guess what? It's not going to come at any cost to us. It should not come to at any cost to us. You know what I mean? Because we're giving them free rein basically to secure the borders in itself. I mean, we do have to create systems that we have a level of clarity, accountability, and transparency where they are concerned, because again, they're first world countries. They have all the assets out there. And we just simply don't want them now to be doing whatever the heck they want to. But you know, that's correct. But that's for another discussion on another day. When we are actually touching on the security factor, we'll go more in depth on that. But the point is that once we can secure those borders, and we now can have a set number of arms and ammunitions and whatever negative within the island, we can now deplete that from where it is. Now, as far as I understand, who was it that had mentioned that we have 30,000 guns on the island or some madness like that?
Was it the commissioner?
Was it the commissioner or
I think it was Dylan.
Was it Dylan? All right. Now, first to begin with, how does he know that for fact? Was he able to go to all?
I think he saw it and he counted them.
But this is what I'm saying. How could you say for fact that we have to? So wait a minute. So customs actually passing these guns through Cedrus or something, or what?
Have to be there counting it for it somewhere, and we get in the report.
But this is it. You know what I mean? So again, how well is the intelligence that they do have, and how much facts are they putting into the public space versus just, you know what I mean, sugarcoating it and saying it's ice cream?
What I found also interesting was that Kamala Bissau-Bissessa, her comment was, she wanted the government to explain exactly how the bill will help law enforcement detect people involved in criminal activity. She says the bill will only kick into action when you detect the crime. You can't charge nobody under the bill, can you? Unless you find them, you have to catch them. Now, her government was in power. Before that, you had Pandy. And here we are in 2017, and we were still going around in circles again.
What are we even talking about Kamala for?
Because hold on. She plays an important part, because you have to look at her comment on the bill and go back to the fact that her government was in power, and you know, as at today, we are still going around in circles. So her comment is important because people need to understand.
You need to understand that the opposition always has the answers. They always know the solution when they're not in power. But when they do have power,
it's the same khaki plan.
Because when the bill was originally formed by her government, the same question she's asking here in 2017. Why it is that those questions were not asked when they were putting forward the bill? But now you're asking questions.
Because the bill didn't serve the purpose that they really needed it for.
At that time.
At that time, correct. And you know, that probably was just another show for the public to say, hey, look, we're looking out for your best interest. Did it get implemented? Was it put into law? No. Nothing was changed. It's the same thing we're dealing with, and what they're doing, taking taxpayers' money, going into the parliament, arguing and putting on this big bloody show as if they're vexed with each other, but yet you can still call cat glass and everything is okay and all hunky-dory. No.
I think that we need to have more programs available to the youth, where once it's either as soon as school is finished, they can go straight into their activity, or they can leave the compound and go to an activity. One activity that I would like to talk about is the President's Award Scheme, on which I grew up on. And this particular program was within the school, and you had a teacher who managed that program, and she would also select one or two of the more mature students to assist with getting everybody organized. You had to do several skills, but you also had to do a sport in order to qualify for your bronze, silver, or gold medal. You had to do a hike, so it meant you had to go down Tetra, where the army did training to teach you how to, start a fire, how to do different things. Then some of my students would go down to Coast Guard, where they learned about tying rope knots, and they were taught specific things which was going to help them when they had to go on their hike.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that whole program has just died. I know it's still around, but it is not as active as it used to be. I remember I was on the committee with Jack Williams, Commander Jack Williams at that time. And when we used to have awards day, the room was packed with parents and the students proudly going up to receive their bronze, silver, or gold medal. Some of them even had the opportunity to travel abroad, to go to other countries where the President's Award Scheme in that country was hosting a session for young people. But we don't see that anymore. I make a connection with the police youth, for instance, in Tobago, right? And I suggested, because they were talking about, being able to have activities for the youth. And I said to them, well, why not get involved with the President's Award Scheme? Because that is something that kids would enjoy, because it's outdoor activities, it's not something that they have to stay indoors for. And, I now have to go back and push it again. But I think that we need to start back with programs for the youth, so that when they're walking on the road, the fella don't call them and say, hey, come, I have something here for you to do, right? And you know what also is important? The respect. And that's in the same document that I mentioned, the youth that was interviewed talked about the fact that teachers do not respect them. They abuse them, they talk to them as they please, and they don't feel any respect. So therefore, they will all hold. All for one and one for all was a term that was used. They will see something happening and not say anything. They won't tell the teacher about it. You see? So, I think teachers on a whole have to revamp how they treat with children. One student also said, but the teacher's not there. She said that, school was like a war zone, and they felt unsafe. And there was no teacher there to protect them because the teachers were just not coming to school. So we need to start addressing those issues. I know that you have addressed it, there's been some start, but it is not sufficient. Our youths are getting away from us. You think that 10 girl students should be walking through the mall after school? Just walking through the mall and liming? No, they should be out there doing an activity or hustling to get homework done for the next day. There doesn't seem to be any sort of pride in themselves, in achieving in their schoolwork. So something has to be done.
Well,
I remember.
It's not fun,
When school's supposed to be fun. I remember school was fun for me.
Yeah.
I used to love waking up in the morning and going to school, because at the end of the day I knew that school is only for a time. After that, I'm on my own. So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
One person said to me the other day, he says, when the whole thing fell down with children and the society as a whole was during the Abu Bakr situation. When parents who normally would say to you, listen to your elders, you do not steal, you do not take something that doesn't belong to you, have respect for the police, right? And yet they saw their parents bringing home stuff that they didn't pay for. Yes, the coup attempt. When they passed and they saw adults in uniform. go breaking into places and taking stuff.
It's
How, as
crazy.
a child, do you expect them now to turn around and listen to you when they could turn and tell you, but what are you talking to me for? Because you were stealing the other day. So you can't tell me now not to steal, or to have respect for the police, or to have respect for property and those kinds of things. That was when it was the start. And from there it was total downhill. Because all they used to tell you now, you can't tell me nothing. They see you coming in the road and they walk in front of you, and you have to know, by the time you see school over, you know you have to slow your car down to almost a stop. Because you know they're going to be walking in front of your car unexpectedly, and you have to be able to control your vehicle to mash brakes so that you don't hit one of them.
I feel if not the present day government or the present day Ministry of Education, unfortunately we will have to wait until the PP gets into office, and while we're manning the Ministry of Education for this to actually come to pass. But what we do need in this country is for the Ministry of Education to create a proper body that can not just look at the outlook of what the needs of the country would need and gear our education towards that, also retrain our teachers as well as give them the proper tools that they need to be as efficient as possible. Because I see no sense why a teacher has to ask for the students or a handful of students to come after school for lessons. I have a problem with that. I have a real big problem with that, because I just think that the time allotted during the school period, in the course of the day, the job of the teacher is to do exactly what the hell you're doing after the school in lessons to try to make extra money. That should be done during the time of the tenure that the child is within the school compound, within the school time, and this madness of, because at the end of the day, this is how crazy it gets, because you're spending X amount of hours during the course of the day. The students aren't absorbing nothing, basically, because obviously if they have to go to lessons in the afternoon, it means to say that it's simply not sticking.
Yeah.
So has anyone taken the time to actually figure out what's the reason why students are not having information stuck in their heads within the classroom in normal school period and time?
I think maybe several things. It would be, of course, some teachers just not teaching, and of course not discounting those who are. Some kids, they come to school and they don't know their situation. Again, I have to reference what I know. Earlier this term, for this school term, I saw, boys in my neighborhood. It's a school day. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 12 o'clock in the midday, and you're home. What are you doing home? And when you probably pry a little bit, you realize that things aren't going good in the home. So the teachers not teaching, the kids having their own issues, and it's a society on a whole that is crumbling, basically crumbling. And you have to get to the core again, just like with the gangs. You have to fix the problem, the roots.
Everything has to go down to the root, and again, where we have to address education, because we're talking about the young people here and the transitional point and period in time that they shift from school and going into the jail cell. You know what I mean? Because again, a lot of things aren't being addressed for a child during the period of schooling, through elementary all the way up to high school. Now, the level of deficiency is taking place for that student. Again, you're coming out of school, you're not getting all your passes. Again, you're coming into a broken home environment. You don't have people giving you the level of guidance that you need. Now you have, like you said, Janice, before, you have the man on the block. Hey, small man, come. You want to make a little small change up here. Hold a little 10, 20 piece and make a little small sale. We go cut it half and half, or whatever the cut might be, right? Now he see money fall in the pocket. Remember, there's no education to sell a 20 play on the corner, So you seeing money falling in your hand. What? Don't make joke. And I could lime, I could smoke, I could drink. I ain't had nobody really tell me what to do, but I'm making our money, right? So it's a liming scene. We on the block. You understand? And this is now what the in thing is, because that's what's cool. Let's have our pants hanging all the way past our goddamn knees and walking down the road and all this sort of madness, right? And but again, that is the level of influence and brainwashing happening from the young people aspect, from down under, from that young, far less for the older ones, because remember, again, you're growing up in that environment, growing up with that type of brainwash and misinterpretation as to what life really supposed to be, right? And you growing into an adult. Now we're wondering why it is so many people are being arrested, so many people are in gangs and in drugs, who's beating their wives or girlfriends, and who's making robberies and kidnappings. Easy money. The level of frustration is high. Everybody want to be a bad man, because at the end of the day, what they doing? They're fighting for turf. It's who better than who. You know what I mean? Don't come wrong. I mean, it's so many different things attached that is creating the problem, and not just where the education is concerned. Everything across the board, because again, our health sector screwed up. We are not getting what we're paying for, and we're suffering as a population. Our education system is flawed. Major flaws within our education system, because we're not addressing our future outlook for the next 50 years as far as what the needs of the country is, how we're going to actually push forward and evolving our nation for the 21st century and beyond, bringing our population up to that IT type standard. Mental wise, you know, everybody have the smartphone, the tablet, computer. Is IT, is computer, is information. It's all about information. Yes, are we incorporating that in what we do, how we teach? I mean, I said last week or the week before show, my daughter at one point I saw her carrying almost 100 pounds in books. What is so hard for us to have the same tablet? Yeah. Just the way how the UNC had started the laptop program. You don't even have to do laptops. Do tablets. Much easier. Yeah. In the classroom, remove the blackboard and put a big screen TV. Right? You can have everything interactive. You can have, in fact, if they're so concerned about the book companies, is why they still insist on students and parents still having to buy books to have these children go to school.
Somebody's making money.
No, but that's okay.
Because the books are local.
But that's okay.
It's money for
still
people who have to put together the books.
That is good.
But this is my point. But understand, those same books, you can put it on a flash drive. You make a package the same way how when we go to buy our music or whatever in the store, you get it laminated with, you know, you have a little flash drive, and back in the day was CDs or whatever. You get a little pamphlet with,
or put it on Kindle.
Or even correct.
Put it on Kindle.
Correct.
So you go to your Kindle account and you just. Yeah, you put it on Kindle, and you have all the books on Kindle. But
what I'm saying is that you know, we don't want to so much take food away from the booksellers, because they've been such a part of what's been done. But what I'm saying is, but hear me out.
Books are going to be of no
exactly. But hear me out.
Any books physical.
What I'm saying is
you can still do the books, but do it in Kindle format. Correct. So that they can be downloaded onto the child's tablet
or flash drive or whatever.
Well, not flash drive, a tablet, because you take your tablet to school. Right. Because you have to take it home to do your homework. Right. Good. And then that way you eliminate books altogether.
Well, that's the idea. But what I was saying is that I wanted to address, because discontinuing the sale of books is gonna hurt a lot of the bookstores. And remember, we're in the business of empowering people. We don't want to create an environment.
Hold on. They are going to be still selling books, because there are lots of novels that they sell. There are lots of to-do books that they sell. So they're not going to lose business. Yes, they will lose business in the textbook environment.
That's where their money is, you know.
Yes, I know. But why must I have to continue down that road?
But I'm not saying that we're doing that.
Yeah, but you see, why it is children have to carry the books in the first place. They should have one item to carry to school. That's it.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
And do their work.
Well, all I'm saying is this. This is the only point I want to bring across. I want to exclude books altogether. I'm just saying that, like, the bookstores can create, or if it was sanctioned by the Ministry of Education for them to create the flash drives with the information on it, with the said books, the text on the flash drive, where they can sell that. They wouldn't be selling it at the cost of the books, obviously. But my point is that they would still be able to maintain a level of sale pertaining towards what is being done. And that's just how we will evolve it. I mean, we will create programs, we would have discussions with people who have dibs in this whole thing. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, it's about evolving our education and how we're bringing the information forward to the young people. And again, I see no reason to even be walking with a book bag. Like you said, it should just be a tablet. You know, and you go into your classroom, everybody has their tablet, there's a big screen, and like Philip said, you know, you can have that interconnected. All the schools could be showing the same thing at the same time with the same curriculum.
Question though, do we need all of those books?
We don't.
I have a closet full of school books. Some of them
never
barely
used.
even
We
used.
don't. When we look at the history books, have you read a history book for Trinidad and Tobago?
Well, yes, because I love history.
My question to you is this: do you think? And I'm not going to touch on that too much in detail right now, but we will, Trinidad and Tobago, have a discussion on that particular topic. Because what I've found is that there's a lot of things in our history that is not taught.
Yeah. I think what we need is to have a national symposium for all the youths in Trinidad and Tobago.
That can work too.
That way, they could come out and say what they think is wrong and what their solutions
I like that.
are.
I like that.
Right?
I like
They
that.
do it on the parliamentary channel where the students have an opportunity to go into parliament, you know, and they're given roles to play, and they do such a fabulous job. Right? So why it is we can't have a similar sort of thing where, you know, all of them just come and say, listen, we need to make changes, and this is what we as students recommend that the government should look into for us.
Well, again, when the PEP gets into office and we have our 41 constituencies covered and we have people on the ground in all those constituencies, we will have people going to the schools and creating a program where the school's students' body voice can be heard, and for us to make a proper record that properly, go back in closed doors and have proper discussion as to how we can now meet the needs of what the children are asking for, what the youths in Trinidad are asking for, what they need to be pacified with, and how we can create mechanisms in helping them move forward and bringing betterment for themselves. Because again, it's not about working for someone, it's to empower them. If we can create an environment where just about everybody is almost, you know, owning their own business, whether it be big, small, medium size, what have you, it's a matter of exchange of product and services. We will be circulating even more cash throughout the system, because again, you're talking about each individual now being empowered, each individual now being able to generate some kind of a cash flow for themselves, and obviously, you know, you get back what you put into it. So if they were to stick to it and put even more into it, they would get more back from it, and that would allow for growth. You know, so Felicia, we don't just don't have enough time. You know, this our thing is not. You know, it's just so much. It's so much. It's so much. It's so much.
As we're getting ready to close our segment, I would like to invite members to tell their family and friends about our employee screening for the Job Seekers Initiative this Saturday from 12 noon at 19 Stanmore Avenue, Port of Spain. We are also going to be having our regular meeting, which is also taking place at 19 Stanmore Avenue from 12 noon. Come and add your voice to the frank and open discussion and express your opinions. We welcome the youth as well, who are more than welcome to express their opinion. The executives of the party will be there to answer any questions you may have. Don't forget that you can become a volunteer and can serve on any of our committees or teams that include National Executive, Constituency Executive, Constituency Representative, Youth Arm, Women's Arm, Security Team, Events Committee. Why volunteer? The Progressive Empowerment Party is different from any other party that has emerged in the past decade, not only in its principles, but also the fact that we are mainly comprised of ordinary citizenry. We believe that citizens should have a say in how they are governed, so we invite persons to volunteer to serve within our organization and help advance the vision and mission of the PP. As we close, I would like to have Antnony say his final closing remarks.
Yes, well, thank you very much, Janice. Well, TNT, thank you for tuning in again tonight. Frontline every Thursday. Felicia, thank you very much for being a part of the panel tonight. And again, I know we don't have enough time because, we get started into certain topics and discussions, and it's like, again, time runs out. So we can't even put out all that we need to put out, spill our guts on, everything that is on our minds and how we feel that we can really move this whole thing forward. But don't worry about it. Like I said, and like Janice said, on every Saturday, it's 12 noon, come down to 19 Stanmore Avenue and meet the executive, meet the other people involved. And if you have ideas, if you have any concerns, if you want to have something addressed, it's the perfect forum for you to have that done. Because we've purposely done that for the population, for anyone. Once you're Trinidadian, you don't even need to be Trinidadian. Come down, hear what is being said. Let's try to move this country forward. That's our mission. So again, TNT, thank you very much. Felicia?
Well, Janice, Antnony, thank you for having me. I know it was impromptu, but I had a really good time. Tonight's topic was from the classroom to the jail cell, and it spoke about the youth, it spoke about the communities, it spoke about social development, and I want to invite all the youth. This impacts you, it impacts your future. Janice said earlier, but we will be happy to have you come out on Saturday. We are building a very strong youth arm. I am excited to work with any and all energetic young people who are willing to be a part of this party, because take my word for it, take my advice, the time to get involved in politics is now. I regret not doing this 10 years earlier, but it's not too late, and this is your future. I want you to grasp it, take an active role in it, and come out on Saturday.
TNT, I just want to, I don't mean to be the last one to be talking here, which we really were supposed to have Felicia talking, but I just wanted to touch on this. We're actually going to have a part 2 to this, because we did talk about the education part of it, but we did not go in depth where the to jail part of it was, simply because, again, we ran out of time for the discussion, but we will have a part 2 on that.
I think in part 2 we're going to have carry on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we can still have Felicia. I like Felicia being. Come on. Carrie is my boy, But I mean, come now, man. Just kidding.
Yeah, it will be from his perspective.
Yeah, of course.
And he would have a bit more, because he works with the youth.
Yes.
He would also be able to talk about the jail cell part of it as well.
And what we also, as a PP, have plans for people who are incarcerated within the jail system. How we plan to revamp and allow them to come out to be worthwhile citizens
and
that
contribute.
Makes sense. And contribute, correct. Yeah. So again, PP has a lot in store for Trinidad and Tobago. We need the chance. We need you.
Okay. We want to acknowledge all our members and thank you all to our viewers. To those of you who are on the roads, please be safe. Good night.
Good night.